Good afternoon. I'm here with my guest. Let me pronounce this right. U-Meleni Mhlaba, okay? And U-Meleni Mhlaba-Adebo is the winner of the first American Idol Underground Spoken Word Competition, an honored writer in the University of Maine Binnacle Literary Arts magazine, including the Write in the Dots series. She has shared her work in poetry, music, and diverse settings in schools, youth, and health organizations, universities, dance and theater companies, the music industry, co-writing songs, film narration for In My Mother's House, and the TV series Yama Africa, where she was a lead actress. She teaches at Endicott College at their Boston campus, and she has a new book out of poetry, Soul Palms. Right here, very attractive cover, as you can see. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Doug, for inviting me.
Absolutely. I had you read at the Newton Free Library series, and now I have the pleasure of having you here.
Oh, thank you very much.
So, interesting. Tell me why did you describe your poetry here as psalms? Give us a formal definition, and why would you describe that? Is there a sort of, is there a rhythmic, metered type thing to
Well, initially I called it soul psalms because I felt that they were sort of songs, hymns from sort of my inner spirit to myself, almost like love songs to myself, but also love songs about a journey that one goes into finding self. And so there's something, I think, very sort of biblical, I guess you could say, when you sort of come into yourself, when you become reborn, when you have to go into your space and then come out a stronger, a better you. So that's why I called it Soul Psalms, because it's about a journey of my soul from a place of weakness to a place of strength.
Is it like a prayer, kind of, a prayer-like?
Yeah, I would say the poems are prayers. They're prayers, they are testimonials, they are sort of details of experiences that either I've had personally or I've witnessed through my experiences in the work that I do.
Okay. Now, there seems to be a lot of, I mean, as well as love and everything, but there's also a lot of pain and bitterness in some of these poems. And you seem to have had a fight for your voice to be heard. Because now, I don't know if you're from Nigeria?
I'm from Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there was a patriarchal society more so than here. Was it hard for a woman? I mean, it's not that it's easy here. But tell me, am I right when I'm saying that you had a struggle to hear? It seemed like you were trying to break out.
Yes, I think there are multiple layers in terms of breaking out. So I think the first layer initially was becoming an artist. I think, especially in my own family, becoming an artist wasn't necessarily something people wanted me to be, or maybe even thought about that I could be. And I think sort of struggling to find my own voice within the context of being an artist and what does it mean for myself. But then I think also the secondary layer is what does it mean to be a woman in my particular culture, and me sort of fighting with notions of womanhood that didn't fit what I wanted to do and be. And so being able to be true to myself, being able to fight for the words to come out of my mouth, if you will, being able to hear and to witness not only my voice but other women's voices in the work that I've done really helped to break through that. And so you do see those themes echoed in my work, because I did have to fight, and I think I continually do fight to have not only my voice heard but women's voices heard in different spaces. I think it's an important thing to do, and that's what I really want to do in my space, both as an artist and as an educator.
Now, you're from Zimbabwe. And is there enough play given to African poetry and African poets now, do you think? Are they more recognized? Is there more of a...
That's an interesting question, in the sense that, as I see a lot of poetry, or at least a lot of respect or visibility, if you will, in the arts of late in the continent than when I started writing poetry. Certainly, you know, there's a lot of, what can I say, in particularly novel writers, I think. You know, I'm in poetic genre, which tends to be a little bit dicey, but novel writers, particularly from Africa, are really getting a lot of visibility, you know, globally, which has been really exciting. And a really great space, particularly for those of us who have always been thirsty and had to sort of dig and find African voices, that they are now kind of coming to the surface much more. So I really appreciate that. Poetry, I think, is still finding its way, in my opinion. And like anything here, at least in my experience in Boston, you have to really dig and look for spaces and other voices, and join different groups and different silos in order to really witness those voices. They aren't necessarily readily available.
Okay. Now, there seems to be a connection with love and writing. You love writing because you have no choice. You love because you have no choice. So is that a correct equation there?
That is true, love, and because, well, I mean, you do kind of have a choice, though, with love.
Well, when you love someone, though.
Well, when you do kind of have a choice in the loving of someone, because you can decide to go with the ebbs and flow of your heart, or you can walk away because you're afraid.
Well, you could do the same with writing, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess they are intertwined. You know, for me, I really didn't have a choice in the matter. I think, you know, I was raised by folks who, you know, had books everywhere. My mother's a librarian, and so I literally grew up around libraries and the word, if you will. So I really didn't have a choice in terms of me going towards writing poetry. So there is a very strong connection, and when I'm feeling most alive, I tend to write a lot, and certainly love is a really good thing to write about in all its manifestations. You know, the different ebbs and flow of love are really beautiful. I think the most revolutionary thing you can do is love someone. You know, love is resistance.
Okay.
You know, and so a lot of the poems that I write are about love in different facets.
Now, you're certainly, you know, you're not confined to one genre. You're certainly an eclectic. You're a performer. You were on TV. You do music,
Yes.
dance, right?
Not as much dance,
But
yes.
yeah. So
But
tell me about all these different all these different things, and I guess they all feed each other.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes. I think, I mean, I first started out writing poetry, and I started writing literally to save myself. You know, a lot of times.
How do you mean save yourself?
Well, save myself in the sense that, you know, I felt misunderstood
Okay.
because I was awkward, because I was nerdish, and I loved books and writing poetry and Shakespeare at a time when kids wanted to go and play. I wanted to read Shakespeare and sonnets and things like that.
What's wrong with you?
What
What was wrong with you?
exactly. So, I mean, so I was a little bit odd, and so for me, writing was a way for me to sort of write my life into sound, into experiences. And from writing came sort of performance, spoken word, because I'm a poet, I'm a spoken word artist, and so performing my poetry became something that I learned and I love to do, and really brings what I'm trying to say on the page to life. And then that sort of transitioned into music. I used to sing in the jazz band when I was in college, and I continue to sing now from time to time, world music, R&B, soul. And it's sort of a natural transition, and theater is a natural transition to sort of the performance of words. So, you know, I just sort of move with whatever creative energy comes in, but it all starts from the word. Really, that is the foundation for me.
Now, who were you reading? For instance, you got your MFA at Lesley College, am I correct?
A master's in education, not
Okay.
an MFA. Yeah.
Okay. Did you study with anyone in terms of poetry and writing?
I did not. Interestingly enough, I have not studied poetry formally, i.e. in school.
Okay.
But I did a lot of reading outside.
You ever do workshops with anyone?
I've done some workshops, but primarily I've been reading poetry on my own. It's interesting that you ask that, because a lot of people think that in order for you to be a poet, you must have gone through formal education, if you will, in terms of an MFA, because
Yeah, I don't
a
know.
lot
I
of
have an
poets,
MA in English,
because a lot
but
of
yeah, right,
poets
yeah,
do.
yeah.
But no, I mean, I did English literature. Actually, I would say in high school I did a lot of English literature, Macbeth and Shakespeare, John Donne, and that sort of thing when I was in high school in South Africa. And that's where I would say I really got my interest and also the skills, if you will, in high school. And then in college, I did English literature, I did African literature, read a lot of Wole Soyinka and Ngugi wa Thiong'o, Okot and so I really got experience in literature in that way. But I didn't major in any of that. And I've had the luxury, if you will, of being influenced by the plethora of poets who are in the Boston area as
who
well.
are some of those that really influenced you besides myself?
I would say, so Askia Touré, he's part of the, yes.
Actually,
yeah.
many years ago, he was in a anthology, City of Poets, 18 Boston Voices,
Okay.
with me. Yeah, so I met him.
Okay. So Askia is certainly one. Patricia Smith is another one,
She used to do the Cambridge Poetry Festival. She used to be an MC way back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Phenomenal writer. I'd also say a lot of the creative spaces, verbalization is one of them. The Lizard Lounge, Jeff Robinson does that, has been a really great,
Interviewed Jeff Robinson, but not here.
Okay,
But,
yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, there's so
He
so
does
many.
the jazz.
Yes, he
and
does, which is a beautiful blend of between music and sound. I mean, poetry and sound. I mean, there's so many. I mean, I creatively grew up in Boston, so learning from all the different poets and different creative spaces, because a lot of the inspiration for me comes from not only reading but also experiencing other poets and also reading books as well as going to live music performances. That's where I get a lot of my inspiration, as well as of course life and
Well,
workshops.
I mean, what's your process for a poem, do you think? Is there any set thing? I mean, I know I carry a little book around with me in my back in case I hear an interesting snippet of conversation or something. I like to write in coffee shops for some reason. The white noise is, something conducive for my writing. I have a sort of little routine. So how about you? Do you, or you're just sort of a free spirit?
I do the same. I always
Any
have
favorite cafe that you go to?
Well, I will say Trident is one of my favorite. Trident
Boston?
Bookstore, yeah.
Anyone in your neighborhood?
In my neighborhood, I go to Homestead Bakery in Fields Corner.
Okay.
That's a really great place to write. Sweet Life is another place. But like you, I carry a notebook, and on the subway, I hear pieces of conversation. Sometimes I hear some songs. Sometimes I'm watching a movie, and a scene comes on, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is poetry in motion. So many things inspire me, but I always have some kind of writing something with me at all times.
Okay. So tell me a bit about your TV stint.
Okay.
What show where was that on?
Yes. So a good friend of mine, her name is Tato Mosa. She's a filmmaker, and she wrote a film called Yama Africa, a TV series rather. And we filmed that in New York in 2008. And I was playing a character, Koi. She was a Kenyan woman. Essentially, this was about 4 African women living in America and sort of the experiences that they face.
What show? Where was it broadcast?
It was worldwide. It was online and in West Africa a lot.
Okay.
But basically, anyone could watch it from anywhere online. And essentially, it was very timely in the sense that we're talking about issues that immigrants face all the time. Facing deportation. How do they go to school? How do they handle work? In terms of power dynamics and work. How do they understand dating, relationships, family abroad, sending money? Deaths in the family. All of those issues were played out in the TV series. It was a wonderful experience, and I really learned a lot about myself, but I think it was also a very important play, a TV series, to talk about what was going on with immigrants. And of course, it's timely right now, given what's been going on.
Yeah, I mean, that'll lead me to the question about, we did briefly touch on this before the show, about how to, as an artist, although you were born here, but you have strong ties to Zimbabwe.
Yes.
How does the Trump election and Trump's rise affected you, or you fear may affect you, or maybe you don't think it's going to affect you, but
I mean, I think what it has done for me, is really sort of ignite and continue to connect with folks who are using their art for resistance, to resist, this oppressive landscape that he's trying to, to put in, in America, which, a lot of people do not agree with. And so for me, it's been really interesting and exciting to see how artists and people are coming together to collide and with one voice speak up that they're not going to stand for this kind of treatment, and that the humanity is coming back.
So you really think art can change
So
things?
I do.
Can you give me an example, for instance, when it has?
How art can change things? I mean, I can think about, protest songs and things that happened in South Africa, I happened to be in South Africa during apartheid when I was in high school, and I saw firsthand what people can do when they come together and resist, doing boycotts and sit-ins, when people create songs.
And the music, the poetry fuels them on?
It fuels them on, it inspires them, it becomes the soundtrack of the resistance,
Is it good
gives
art, do you
courage.
think? Some say that it becomes, political art could be rant-like and not.
Well,
What do you think?
I think art is objective. You know? It really depends on what kind of art you're looking at, who's looking at it, who are the people who are defining what art is, first of all, to decide whether or not it's effective or not.
But one thing I could say is that great art, a lot of great art came out. For instance, when it was the Iron Curtain, and poets were sort of underground, and they were under pressure, and there was a desperation to it, and actually produced very good work. When they get too comfortable, like if the state's supporting them in Russia, something writing propaganda or poems, whatever. So in some sense, this sense of urgency might energize and create new great art. And ironically, something may come of Trump like that from Trump's. I mean, he certainly, from great pain comes great art.
Yes,
So,
that is true.
what do you
and
think?
sometimes great joy, too.
That's true. That's
Sometimes
true.
great joy, sometimes you're so busy being, but then again, I think for me, sometimes when I'm too busy being happy, I'm not necessarily creating certain things that I would like to, because I'm in the moment, which is a good thing, because you want to be in the moment when you're enjoying life. But when there is a roadblock, when there is something like what's happening now in the world, it's urgent in terms of our voices need to be heard, and people need to pull together and realize our humanity. And I think for me, that's important. And that's a place where we need to be. Wherever your comfort level is. Some people are not going to be the ones on the front lines marching, but they'll be writing poems that will be the ones that will inspire people to do something.
Okay. I want you to read from your work, Soul Poems. I imagine the publisher was She Writes Press.
Yes, She Writes Press.
SheWritesPress.com. And you can also buy it from Amazon, I guess, but
Yes.
probably go to She Writes if you can, right? And there
thank
you go. So read
Thank
what you will.
Okay, well, it is Valentine's Day,
Yes, it
and I
is.
think Valentine's Day should be every day. Every day you should have moments to express love to people in your life, but also strangers. I think love is the most revolutionary thing you can do. So I will share 3 pieces about love, and I'll start with, let's see if I can find. Okay, it is called The Blessing from Soul Psalms. My heart is full, being able to see you grow, evolve. I was there when you were learning to dream. A daily meditation of desire, an inherent burning inside you to revolt and give birth to the creative you. And you were there, in my beginning, in the space before my beginning, when I was incoherent and had dyslexic ideas in my mind, and were patient and supportive. And I began to learn how to speak my life into sound. And you hyphenated the phrases with images, and I was born, and it was done. Our lives became splintered, but not broken. The friendship real, love was honest, but was preparation for the more later. And I thank you for that. For through the broken pieces, I glued a more interesting landscape and found my king. You did that for me, and I will always believe in rainbows the way I believe in you. That was The Blessing.
You said dyslexic ideas?
Dyslexic, yes.
Yeah, I mean, were you actually describing your condition, or you were using a metaphor?
No, I was using a metaphor.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
That's an interesting metaphor, dyslexic.
Okay, another one. Africa in me. Last night I tried to fight myself. Mind over feeling. Mind didn't win. This morning I smelled of you, golden imprints of your hand pressed against mine. Was it an illusion? I think not. Last night you kissed the Africa in me. Can you taste my sun? Like wine I dance in your glass, rouge, face flushed, my spine, we divine, multiplied. I want to drown in this, the thisness of this vast continent of verbal interplay that has my thoughts orgasmically inebriated. I am open wide like the vowels you wish your name had more of. Maybe you can have mine. Okay. All right, I'm going to... How am I
Are you
doing?
going to be reading from this anywhere soon, or?
I'm going to be doing something in April.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to be reading one of my newer poems called African Made, American Grown, and it's about sort of hyphenated identity, this idea of being African in America, and what does it mean, this sort of dance that people do who are from an other place.
Okay.
So I'm going to be doing that in April. Probably going to be doing stuff in March, but right now...
Where are you doing that?
This is going to be at the Villa Victoria, I believe.
In South End, yeah.
Yeah, in the South End.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah. Do I have time to read one more?
No, you have time to read a lot more because you have 7 minutes.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to read one in my mother tongue.
Okay.
And it is
Then you'll
called...
translate it, of course.
Yes, I will. It's called Rudo, Love.
Could you do it slowly? Because I like to hear the music of an...
Okay. Oh, my cold.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Mudiwa wangu, hapana zuwa rinopfuura ndisingakufungi. Uri kutanga kwangu, nekupera. Uri zuwa rinojekesa nyika. Usiku uri nyenyedzi mudenga. Uri muchengeti wemwoyo wangu, ruwa remwoyo wangu. Mwoyo wangu unofefetera ndikakufunga. Ndinokutauridza seiko kudzama kwedo rwangu. Kukunyorera tsamba, kukuimbira kusvika wachema misodzi yeruzivo. Hapana mazwi anonyatsatsanangura mudekani. Usandisiya ndega muupenyu, ndakakupa mwoyo wangu pasi pamuwatera. Saka wane mbiri mudikani. Wane mbiri. My love, there's not a day that goes by that I don't think of you. You are my beginning and my end. You are the sun in my personal sky. At night, you are the stars decorating the heavens. You are the captor of my heart, flower of my heart. You make my heart flutter when I think of you. How do I convey the depth of my feelings for you? Should I write you a letter or sing you sweet songs until you cry tears of surrender? There are no words, my love. Please don't leave me. Don't leave me here in this world alone. I gave you my heart that day, underneath the wattle tree. So now you have two, my love. Now you have two.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Okay. I'm going to do one more for my son.
Okay. Is
Poem
he
for
watching?
Jabu. I think so.
Okay.
I dream of you though you're not yet born. I think of how you will look, smell, and feel. You are our love manifest growing inside my belly, evidence that I don't yet see but feel in my heart. I wonder if you can hear us speak your name, feel your father's touch when he rubs my belly, comforting us both. We are excited to be your parents, and we hope we are worthy of this blessed experience to watch you bloom. Amen. I wrote that just a year before he was born.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. He might have heard it still.
Probably. Okay, let's see. One last one.
Well, you still have time. So
I do?
Yeah.
Okay. Home. Our bodies are our homes. We carry with us blood, tissues, and cells, memories braided by age and time. We become at our own pace, and our bodies remember. We are always an inch away from finding our true greatness, our inherent song. We cannot exist alone. Otherwise, we would have given birth to ourselves, cut the umbilical cord, perforating our mother's womb with eager fingertips yearning for sun rays to bless shriveled skin 9 months in the making. Our bodies are our homes. We carry with us blood, tissues, cells, memories braided by age and time. We become at our own pace, and our bodies remember. Okay.
Anything else? Yeah, yeah.
Am I?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Never seen a poet hesitant to read.
Ashes in a tray. Mahogany, sleek, tall, lying restless between two thin pink lips. I'm holding on to my African heritage. I see white hot flames through closed eyelids, the sight branded on my retina, and the heat of oppression, of pain, oppression and pain singes my soul like a flame to hair till I feel your throat constricting from your mucus-infested mouth, coughing, coughing, coughing out a nation the spunk of negritude, burning, burning, burning away at the very walls of my existence, thinking all that's left of me are ashes in a tray. Nika haimbo kanganwi, Nika haimbo kanganwi. The earth does not forget.
Who are some of the Zimbabwean or poets that you admire? Did we touch on that?
No, we didn't. There is one poet in particular who I admire. His name was Dambudzo Marichera.
Okay.
He passed away in the 80s, I believe. He died of AIDS. What I liked about him is that I love poets who really bend language, to their own rules. He was very unapologetic in the way that he wrote.
How did he write?
And,
That was,
I mean, I haven't memorized any of his work. But he, sometimes when you're a writer, you are very delicate and you dance around issues without saying the way things are. And he would just go straight and be very definitive about things, taking a lot of risk.
Okay.
And so I think for me, I really gravitate towards, poets that take risk.
Okay.
And also, of course, poets that really talk about social justice issues in a way that anyone can relate to, but also specifically people who are in power can also understand and maybe be irritated by. And he did that really well. Another poet I admire who's not necessarily from Zimbabwe, but who's one of my my mentors, I don't think he knows that, but Martin Espada is a poet that
I studied with him.
I just adore his work, and I am amazed at just the way, the skill, the way he writes, but also the content of what he writes.
We're just at about a time, but for the sake.
Sure.
Okay. So thank you for joining us here.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this time with you.
Let me pronounce this.